Hey everybody, J-Man here. Let's talk about the Ambassadors of Death. if you watch the Ambassadors of Death, you know that the death came later. This is a weird intro because they'd have the intro and they wouldn't do the story title. They'd have a little bit of footage, and then they would do Ambassadors of Death, and you're like, whoa, what? So that was kind of interesting. If you know me, you know I love Doctor Who. It's my favorite TV show of all time. My favorite Doctor is John Pertwee. Tom Baker is the best Doctor, hello. But John Pertwee is my personal favorite. Liz Shaw is in my top 3 companions. She's my number 3, actually. And Lethbridge Stewart is one of my favorite characters on television. So I love this era of Doctor Who. It's probably my favorite era, though. I gotta say, four's era is good. 5 has a lot of great episodes, and I kind of love Colin Baker, even though his episodes maybe aren't as good, but he himself is great. But yeah, John Pertwee and 3 and 4 and Tom Baker, collectively, they're just sick. Like, all of them are great. I'm reviewing this using my space system: story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. 2's the best you can get in every category. I'm ranking this against other Doctor Who. I'm not ranking this against Star Trek. My favorite TV show is Doctor Who. My second favorite TV show is Star Trek. My third favorite is Blake 7. And I'm not comparing those. I'm not comparing this to an episode of, Frasier or something. Doctor Who stands on its own. So I'm comparing it amongst itself. So if I give a Doctor Who story a 10 out of 10, I'm saying it's one of the better Doctor Who stories. If I give a Doctor Who story a 5 out of 10, I'm saying that it's one of the lower Doctor Who stories, right? I'm going to give the storyline of this one a 1. It kind of lost me a little bit. So there's the astronauts are in space. They come back and they're just empty shells, and there's like some sort of alien entity in it and feeding off of radiation, and they can like touch you and spark you to death. And they're being used by these bad guys who are kind of boring, really. I was more interested in the alien aspects of it, which are not that much in it. This is a 7-part story. I'm going to talk about pacing momentarily. This was a 7-part story, and if you look at this 7-parter versus the previous one, which was the Silurians, I felt like a lot was going on with the Silurians, and we had a lot of stuff with the Silurians themselves. Whereas this one, there's a lot of meandering around with like these bad guys, who are just very uninteresting. That's kind of my problem with the storyline. Which will take me right into the pacing, and I'm going to give the pacing a 1 as well. This does not need to be 7 episodes. I personally love all the John Pertwee stories, just as a personal fan. John Pertwee just walking around and doing stuff is cool to me, but as a critical analysis, this really doesn't need to be 7 parts at all. This could have been probably 4, maybe not even 4. So it is doubly longer than it should be. Silurians was a 7-parter, which probably could have been a 5 or 6-parter. I liked the 7 parts. This one, definitely like 4 parts. Like really, this was really dragged out on this one. That said, though, the artistry, I'm going to give it a 1.5. There's a lot of cool stuff in space. I actually think the astronauts are kind of creepy. If you think of Silence in the Library, remember the, hey, who turned off the lights? Hey, who turned off the lights? Hey, who turned off? Remember that? They were creepy too. These guys are weird because you just don't see anything, and it's just like a lifeless form walking around. They're probably maybe not as creepy as the Autons, who are pretty weird, but these guys are pretty good. Like you're like, oh, okay, they're weird. So I like that aspect. There's some space stuff. Again, Doctor Who gets beat up because it looks cheesy, or it's wobbly sets and all this other crap that you always hear. Look. It's fine, okay? I mean, the budget, the time period, how it was filmed, the restrictions of the BBC at the time, they did the best they could. And I think they did a lot of cool stuff, and they tried to show a lot of cool stuff in this one. So I'm giving the artistry a 1.5. I do like it. And the music's kind of kooky. It sometimes doesn't fit what's going on, which is weird too. Silurians, I kind of like the music. It was a bit weird, but it kind of fit. For this one, it kind of just didn't fit. It felt weird. But still 1.5. For the characters, got to give it a 1.5. Liz, top 3 companion. Love Liz. She's my 3rd favorite companion. John Pertwee's my favorite Doctor. Lethbridge Stewart's one of my favorite characters. I can't give it a 2 out of 2 because the villains are lame. They're lame-os. It's like, it's just, I hate when it's just like a bunch of lame villains that don't do anything. Like, if you look at the Silurians, hell yes. The Silurians were the friggin' damn best, man. They're awesome. These guys, it's like, and these the human guys suck, and and the astronaut people, like, you can't really do much with them, right? So, um, and for enjoyment factor, I'm still, this is gonna sound crazy, I'm still gonna give it a 2 out of 2 for enjoyment factor. Look, I told you before, John Pertwee's my favorite. I love Liz, love Lethbridge Stewart. Pretty much every single John Pertwee story is going to get a 2 out of 2 for enjoyment factor. The enjoyment factor is not a critical analysis. I'm not talking about the story, the pacing, the artistry, the characters. I'm talking about your personal, did you enjoy it? Hell yes. I love all the just John Pertwee walking around and Liz doing stuff is just automatically cool for me. I love it. So the enjoyment factor portion of my space system is there for me to be able to give a point or two extra to the score because I just enjoyed it. Sometimes you watch a movie and you thought it was a bit slow, or maybe the story wasn't that good, but you liked it anyway. That's where I'm at. So I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. Critically speaking, it probably should be maybe like a 5 or a 6 out of 10, honest, if I'm being really honest. But I'm giving it a 7 because I personally like it. And again, you don't have to agree with me. That's fine. I really enjoyed this one anyways. So there you go. If you enjoy my space rating system, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. We're going to do a lot more Doctor Who content because I love Doctor Who. It's my favorite show. I thought let's start with John Pertwee, who's my favorite. Easy. It wasn't a big decision. It wasn't like, oh, which Doctor should I start with? Let's start with William Hartnell. Well, the first 2 Doctors, a lot of stuff's missing, right? Patrick Troughton got destroyed. Like, everything's missing on that guy. It's brutal, okay? 3 and on, we got it all. So we can actually review these things properly. And I hate those audio ones where it's like a still picture and there's audio. You're like, and then they've animated some. I still bought all of that on DVD anyways because I do want to see, like to actually see the story in whatever way I can. But Pertwee and all, we've got everything. It's in color. Pertwee's my favorite, so it all just fell into place, so that's why I started with him. I should be doing Inferno sometime soon as well. But let me know if you want more Doctor Who content, okay? And then, because I will provide, the J-Man shall abide. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.